We have all been watching the intense, increasingly bitter war raging between Brook Lynn and Willow. The insider buzz suggests that a massive, jaw dropping twist is currently being filmed behind closed doors, completely flipping the script on the hit and run storyline involving Jordan and Curtis. Unconfirmed information is flying around that the carefully constructed trap we have been watching might completely implode in the most spectacular fashion imaginable. If you ask me, the writers are preparing to deliver a shockwave that will shatter everything we thought we knew about this rivalry. Everyone assumes that Brook Lynn has finally claimed the ultimate victory. Most viewers believe that her desperate alliance with Lucy and the undeniable technical wizardry of Brick have created an inescapable web for Willow. The obvious explanation seems to be that Willow is going down for the hit and run, destined to be publicly humiliated and carted off in handcuffs right in the middle of town. People are expecting Brook Lynn to pop the champagne, believing she has successfully eliminated her rival and secured her marriage to Harrison. The general consensus is that Willow has been completely outplayed, outsmarted, and backed into a corner from which there is absolutely no escape. Viewers are bracing for a storyline where Willow languishes in a jail cell, desperately trying to prove her innocence, while all the fabricated GPS evidence points directly to her. Let us take a moment to really visualize what everyone thinks is about to happen. We can all picture the dramatic scene, the flashing red and blue lights of the police cruisers illuminating the dark streets, Harrison standing there with a look of utter devastation and betrayal, and Willow screaming her innocence as the cold metal cuffs are slapped onto her wrists. Brook Lynn, watching from a safe distance, probably feels a twisted sense of accomplishment. She thinks she has protected her family, her husband, and her future. Everyone assumes this is the grand finale of their feud. Most viewers believe that the narrative is straightforward. The bad girl gets framed by the desperate wife, and the justice system blindly follows the breadcrumbs left by Brick. It is a classic soap opera setup, and frankly, it is exactly what we have been conditioned to expect. But what if that wasn't the real reason this storyline was created? What if someone else is about to change the entire game from the shadows? The speculation is that Jordan, the very victim of this horrific crash, starts experiencing fragmented, haunting memories of that fateful night. What if the situation is being manipulated and Jordan realizes the evidence against Willow is just a little too perfect? Imagine Jordan lying in her recovery bed, the trauma of the accident still fresh, when suddenly a flash of memory pierces through the fog. A face in the rearview mirror. A distinctive voice. A scent of perfume that definitely does not belong to Willow. This behind-the-scenes possibility suggests that Jordan's sharp detective instincts will kick into overdrive, leading her to quietly question the official narrative that her own police department is so eager to accept. Think about Jordan's history and her unparalleled investigative skills. She is not the type to just nod and accept a neatly packaged suspect, especially when that suspect is handed over on a silver platter with perfectly fabricated GPS coordinates. The insider buzz indicates that Jordan will begin to conduct her own shadow investigation. Instead of rushing to the authorities with her fragmented memories, she starts pulling at the threads of this conspiracy completely off the books. She knows that if she speaks up too soon, the real culprit will simply scatter into the wind. So, what does she do? She makes a move that absolutely no one sees coming. The unconfirmed information floating around is that Jordan herself will be the one to post bail for Willow. Yes, you heard that right. The victim of the crime stepping up to free the prime suspect. This unprecedented move would send absolute shockwaves through the entire community. Imagine the sheer panic and confusion erupting when Willow walks out of the precinct, completely free, with Jordan standing right beside her as her unlikely savior. Brook Lynn would be absolutely blindsided. She thought her trap was flawless, but now, the very woman she used to frame Willow is actively dismantling her victory. Jordan doesn't necessarily trust Willow. In fact, she probably still harbors deep suspicions about her, but Jordan recognizes a frame-up when she sees one. By securing Willow's release, Jordan is sending a silent, terrifying message to the real perpetrator. I know you are out there and I am coming for you. This behind-the-scenes possibility completely rewrites the power dynamics of the entire show. Let us break this down further, because there are a few ways this incredibly complex web could play out. There may be more going on here than a simple realization. That's one possibility. Jordan remembers the exact identity of the driver. In this scenario, Jordan's memory clears completely. She vividly recalls that it was Brook Lynn, or perhaps a hired operative working on Brook Lynn's behalf, who was behind the wheel that night. Armed with this undeniable truth, Jordan bails Willow out to create a false sense of security for Brook Lynn. Jordan wants Brook Lynn to think she got away with it, allowing her to make a fatal mistake. Jordan secretly hands over a newly discovered, irrefutable piece of evidence, maybe a piece of debris from the actual vehicle, or a hidden security camera footage directly to a trusted ally at the precinct, ensuring that when the hammer falls on Brook Lynn, it falls with absolute inescapable force. But another theory is entirely psychological. What if Jordan's memory is still hazy, but she is using Willow as bait in a massive, high-stakes game of chess? In this second scenario, Jordan bails Willow out, not because she knows Brook Lynn is guilty, but because she knows Willow is hiding other, much darker secrets. We all know Willow has a hidden agenda. She has been secretly harboring a dangerous fugitive, and her life is a house of cards waiting to collapse. Jordan might suspect that the hit and run is just a smokescreen distracting the police from a much larger criminal conspiracy. By freeing Willow, Jordan gives her enough rope to hang herself on a federal level. Jordan watches from the shadows as Willow scrambles to cover up her other crimes, ultimately leading the authorities right to the heart of a massive underground network. What if we're looking at this the wrong way completely? Let us explore a third scenario, one that introduces a terrifying unknown element. What if a third party is manipulating both Brook Lynn and Jordan? In this version of events, Brook Lynn genuinely believes she framed Willow using Brick's fabricated GPS data. However, someone else, a completely unforeseen enemy, actually committed the hit and run and is using Brook Lynn's fake evidence to cover their own tracks. Jordan realizes the GPS data was planted, but the real driver is still out there, laughing at all of them. This means Brook Lynn is about to be arrested for a crime she merely pretended to commit, making her the perfect, tragic scapegoat for a villain we haven't even identified yet. Brook Lynn's own scheming would be her ultimate undoing, trapping her in a nightmare where she cannot prove her innocence without admitting to her original malicious plot against Willow. If this third scenario plays out, the irony would be absolutely devastating. Brook Lynn, who was so smug, so confident in her victory, would find herself in the exact position she intended for Willow. The insider buzz suggests we might see a scene where Brook Lynn is celebrating her supposed triumph, perhaps sharing a quiet, victorious moment, only for the police to kick the door down. Harrison, her own husband, might be the one forced to read her rights. The emotional destruction of that moment would be unparalleled. Brook Lynn would be crying, pleading, trying to explain that she only planted the GPS data, but she didn't actually hit Jordan and Curtis. But who would believe her? She has a documented history of manipulation and deceit. The very lies she told to destroy Willow would become the bars of her own prison cell. Meanwhile, what happens to Willow in the aftermath of this shocking reversal? If you ask me, this is where the story gets truly terrifying. Willow escaping this frame-up is not a moment of pure justice. It is a massive missed opportunity for the authorities. Because while everyone is focused on Brook Lynn's spectacular downfall, Willow's deepest, darkest secrets remain completely hidden in the shadows. The unconfirmed information is that Willow will use this chaos to further entrench herself in her dangerous alliances. She still has ties to dangerous fugitives. She still has a hidden agenda that threatens the safety of everyone around her. By escaping the hit-and-run charges, Willow essentially receives a get-out-of-jail-free card, emboldening her to take even greater risks. The danger surrounding her hasn't ended. It has merely evolved into something far more insidious. Let us take a moment to consider the collateral damage if this rumor proves true. Think about Lucy. We all know Lucy is an opportunist of the highest order. She helped Brook Lynn set this up, demanding favors and shares in return. But the second the police turn their attention toward Brook Lynn, do you honestly think Lucy will stand by her side? The insider buzz is that Lucy will flip on Brook Lynn faster than you can blink, throwing her completely under the bus to save her own skin. And what about Brick? He is a ghost when he needs to be. Once he realizes Jordan is onto the fabricated GPS data, Brick will likely scrub every digital trace of his involvement, leaving Brook Lynn standing alone holding the smoking gun. Brook Lynn will be entirely isolated, abandoned by her co-conspirators, and left to face the wrath of the justice system entirely on her own. And then there is Harrison. Oh, poor Harrison. He is a dedicated police officer, a man who believes in the letter of the law. Imagine the soul-crushing agony he will experience if he is the one who uncovers the truth. The speculation is that Harrison might actually be the officer who receives the secret evidence from Jordan. Imagine him opening that file, expecting to find the final nail in Willow's coffin, only to see undeniable proof that his own wife orchestrated the entire frame-up. The betrayal would destroy him. He would be forced to choose between the badge he swore an oath to and the woman he loves. If you ask me, this storyline isn't just about the rivalry between two women. It is about the complete and utter destruction of Harrison and Brook Lynn's marriage. The tragedy of him having to read his own wife, her Miranda rights, is a behind-the-scenes possibility that would go down in television history. I keep wondering whether the writers are pushing us toward an even darker revelation. Here is the most dangerous possibility, the theory that will keep you awake at night. What if Willow actually orchestrated her own framing? I know it sounds insane, but hear me out. What if Willow knew Brook Lynn was gunning for her? What if Willow deliberately left breadcrumbs, manipulating Brook Lynn into using Brick to plant that fake GPS data? Why would she do this? Because Willow needed an airtight alibi and a massive public distraction. If the entire police force is focused on proving she hit Jordan and Curtis, a crime she knows she can ultimately beat, because the evidence is fabricated, then no one is looking into the real horrific crime she is committing behind the scenes. In this chilling scenario, Willow is not a victim at all. She is a master manipulator playing four-dimensional chess while Brook Lynn is playing checkers. Willow wanted to be arrested. She wanted the public spectacle. She wanted Brook Lynn to feel that fleeting, intoxicating sense of victory, only to rip it away and destroy Brook Lynn's life in the process. This would elevate Willow from a desperate woman hiding secrets to a cold, calculating villain capable of destroying lives without leaving a single fingerprint. If this behind-the-scenes possibility is true, then Brook Lynn never stood a chance. She walked blindly into a trap set by a woman who is far more dangerous than anyone in town realizes. The thought that Willow could be pulling the strings of her own demise just to annihilate her enemy is absolutely haunting. Something about this feels hidden, guys. We are only seeing the surface of the water, completely unaware of the massive leviathan swimming just beneath. The speculation is running wild, and the insider buzz points to a conclusion that will leave us all breathless. Will Jordan's memories be the key that unlocks this mystery, or are her memories being manipulated too? Will Brook Lynn be the one leaving town in handcuffs, stripped of her dignity, her family, and her freedom? Or is Willow orchestrating a masterclass in deception that will eventually consume them all? There are so many moving parts, so many hidden agendas, and so much unconfirmed information swirling around this storyline. It could be true. It could be a massive misdirection designed to keep us guessing. But one thing is absolutely certain. This war is far from over. I will keep my ear to the ground and bring you the latest rumors as soon as they drop. Until then, keep questioning everything you see on screen, because in this town, the truth is always the ultimate casualty.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.